You have one set hour a day that you do every single day. And before anyone listening says, I don't have an hour a day, you have all hours of the day.
Yes.
Because if your business is not exploding, growing, then that means you have to pick an hour of the day that's not exploding the growth of your business, and you need to up level, right? Because it's the first thing everyone says, I don't have an hour a day. I will literally have clients come to me that hire me that are like, I don't have an hour a day. And I'm like, stop. We're going to go ahead and stop right there. Because if your business isn't growing by multiple millions of dollars right now effortlessly, you're working this 1 hour already anyway, but you're not getting the benefit of it.
Yep.
So you're going to give yourself a promotion.
You're listening to the 7-Figure Leap podcast. We're here to leverage rich relationships and smart strategies to take your business to the next level. Here's your host, Dustin Riekman.
Well, welcome back to the 7-Figure Leap podcast. I'm super excited today. I get to spend time with a new friend. So Kelly Roach is someone I met through Selena Sue and her community. And the more I've learned about Kelly, the more fascinated I've become. And so we could do, and probably will do, multiple episodes, in the coming years. But today we're really going to focus on her new book and this really powerful creative constraint of the miracle hour. So before we get into all the goodies today, Kelly, I'd love for you to just kind of introduce yourself and give a little context to the listeners about who you are and what you're about. And then we'll dive right into the miracle hour.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dustin. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Kelly Roach, as you just shared, and I'm a homeschool mom. I'm a wife. I'm an athlete. I'm a business builder. I run a portfolio of 6 companies. And my dream and what I love and the purpose of my life is really just championing other people at their highest potential. And, all of my work as a business growth strategist is centered around how do I help leaders to achieve 7- and 8-figure success without compromising the most sacred parts of their life, their faith, their family, their fitness, their fulfillment, and their freedom. So it's really how do we create a marriage of both chasing your dreams and achieving your big goals, but living a rich and wonderful and fulfilling life every single day.
So good. So anyone who's listened to this show ever is going to understand why we resonate so deeply. I'm celebrating my 25th wedding anniversary this year,
Congratulations.
and 3 kids, and faith is a huge aspect of not only how I live my life, but why I do business. And the company's called 7-Figure Leap. So we're obviously aligned in our mission of understanding that entrepreneurship is a force for good, and anything we can do to amplify that is great. So you've written multiple books. You've got 6 businesses. You got a lot going on. Maybe we could start with why Miracle Hour, the book, and then we're obviously going to talk about what is a miracle hour and how to apply it and all those good things, and then point people toward how they can go deeper with the book. But why do you feel called in this season to write this book and talk about this topic?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a long story, which I'll try to make short.
That's fine.
Um, I've been in the business of helping people scale companies since 2012. My world of business came from the Fortune 500 world. I was promoted 7 times in 8 years, and I became the youngest senior vice president in the company. And what I did there was sales and leadership and team building. And I ended up managing 17 locations and building a team of 100 basically from the ground
Wow.
up. So that's where I really learned business and learned what makes a business sustainable, what creates profitability, what makes a business be able to have exponential year over year growth while keeping a talented and tenured team, right? So kind of climbed that whole mountain, got to the top of corporate, said, I think I climbed the wrong mountain, right? Looked around and I said, I don't want a life like that. And I don't want a life like that. So I better go create something different because no one's going to do it for me. So I loved the work that I was doing so much, but I wanted to I always say, I wanted to get my hands in the dirt. I wanted to work with people where when I was working with them and supporting them in their business, I knew it was impacting their family and creating generational wealth, and that there was so much heart and soul and purpose behind it. So I started my, first business on my lunch break from my little Jeep Liberty. I had never taken a lunch break in my life because I was working 60 hours a week as an executive. But I did this for the first time because I was in the process of retiring my husband so that he could be home full time with our daughter, which was our biggest dream. We didn't want to have our daughter in daycare. We had known that like from the moment we started dating. And I was super passionate diving into the world of entrepreneurship. He was a musician working a corporate job. So he was like, meh, I'm happy, done with this. Right. So we made that decision. And so here I was, I have this newborn at home. I'm retiring my husband. I have this 60-hour a week executive job, and I'm trying to start a business. And I have to replace my income somehow without getting fired from my executive job. So what I would do, Dustin, is I would go out to my Jeep Liberty, which I never liked that car, but it was a practical buy because I was saving and building for my future, just like we all do, right? I would go out there on my lunch break and I had this little index card. And on this index card, I would map out like, what can I do when I have 30 minutes? What can I do when I have 15 minutes? What can I do when I have 5 minutes? What can I do even if I have 1 minute at a traffic light that's going to help me build my bridge to freedom? Right. And, in the beginning, I was like super overwhelmed and I had all this like imposter syndrome. And I was like, how the heck am I ever going to do this? Right. Like people are working 60 hours a week trying to grow their business.
Yep.
Who do I think I am, that I'm going to do this in an hour a day? Right. But I learned the most important lesson of my life. And it's why I get to like homeschool my daughter now and be involved in our church and be involved in the community and go to dance classes with my girlfriends and have 6 companies and a big team. I learned that there's kind of multiple operating systems, right? And there's one operating system that we have that's like hard work, long hours, massive action. And there are some benefits to that in seasons, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I benefited from that immensely. Like that is how I got promoted 7 times in 8 years. But when I hit the wall, Dustin, and I was like, okay, that operating system that I used to get to that level is not going to be available and going to the next one. I need a new operating system. So that was when I discovered for the first time, there's a whole nother operating system available, which is that 8 hours of massive frantic action can be equivalent to 1 hour of activation. And so I went out there every single day in my car and I sent messages, I sent emails, I booked calls, I reached out to prospects, I booked consultations. I just connected directly with people. I nurtured leads and I made offers. And all of a sudden, the first year it was like, I was the little engine that could, and it was like slow. I was making some progress, but it's like you feel like this should go a lot faster than it is.
Yeah.
By year 2, my business was just exploding. And that's when I really learned the power. And that's why I call it the miracle hour. 1 hour of activation will completely change your life, and it'll take a 10-year goal and you can achieve it in 6 months or less. And you said like, why now? The answer to why now is multifaceted. And one of the most important reasons is that I have helped thousands of entrepreneurs grow. I've seen so many people come and go since 2012 in the online space, and we have it all wrong because people are compromising their marriages. They never see their children. They're burning themselves out. They don't take care of their health. They've lost their faith. They are losing everything that matters in pursuit of success. And someone needs to come in waving a flag like you all need an intervention, right?
I love that.
So that's like the purpose of like all of my work now is like, how do I help people scale efficiently and transition from the operating model of like endless hours to higher intent to make bigger leaps faster? The second reason though, is even, more kind of, I'll say timely and urgent, which is that with the onset of AI, and everyone's obsession with AI, we now are facing a scary reality that the vast majority of us have scaled our businesses using social media for the last 20 years. And 50% of activity online now is bots. By next year, it's going to be 60%. And with the onset of AI, most people are moving high ticket buying decisions to relationships. They want to buy from a person. They want to connect with you. They want intimacy. They want connection. They want relationship, and they want referral from either their inner circle or someone that they trust or someone that's worked with you. And so there's like this cataclysmic moment happening right now that no one realizes because everyone's so distracted by the bright, shiny, you can save time and money with AI that
Yep.
no one's actually realizing that their whole business is about to collapse because while they're trying to be efficient, taking advantage of AI, people are making buying decisions through relationships now.
Yep.
And that's where, and I have so many stats on stats on stats. I won't bore you with it to back this up, but like there is data and proof the money is moving differently. And this happens in every economic cycle, it happens in
Yep.
every season. And this is what AI is ushering in. And I call it the activation era. And the activation era is where people are now buying based on relationships, intimacy, context, depth. It's why Substack is blowing up right now.
Yep.
People with money are consuming long form. They're consuming long form, they're consuming newsletters, reports, and they're buying through curated, intimate relationships. So the miracle hour is really like the life raft for all business owners everywhere that have been growing their business with social media that now realize, oh, your 2% reach that you had before with social media, now that's 1% because half of what you're reaching is AI and bots. But now what's everyone doing? They're using AI to create their content. The people aren't even on social media anymore. So
Right.
how do you think that your social media is going to reach the people you're trying to sell to when they're not even on social media anymore? It's their bot.
Yeah.
No one's putting two and two together and they're like missing the whole point. So they're running themselves into the ground, endlessly chasing more on one hand, and on the other hand, they're in the wrong vehicle for the era that we just entered. So the
Yep.
miracle hour is like the life raft that's like 1 hour of relationships that convert into opportunity.
Okay. Beautiful context. And you see me nodding voraciously and like, I'm literally like, as we record this, 4 days from now, I'm going to be standing on a stage at an AI business conference, a little nervous, but I'm really evangelizing a similar reality. And I love the word activation era. I talk about like being an age of insight instead of an age of information,
Yes.
and that we're in a
Yes.
trust recession, and that the
Yes.
way to cut through that noise is through human to human connection. And, as you know, I do podcast guesting, what we're doing right now, because of all those reasons: long form
Yep.
educational content, relationship, intimacy. And so you're definitely singing my tune and also our listeners, right? I think
Yeah.
we have experienced that. We continue to experience that. It was already a real prevalent problem that's very
Yeah.
much becoming more painful and more
Yeah.
urgent. And so,
Yeah.
totally understand now the context and the timing, and why
Yeah.
now is when you really need to change something to address this new reality if you want to be successful online and have a high ticket, expert based business. So, love it all. So let's transition then into like, what is the miracle hour? How
Yes.
does it work? And of course, we're going to give people access to where they can go get the book to
Yeah.
dive deep. But I'd love to give them as much as we can in the time that we have, just a real practical overview of how this works, because it's made such a difference, not only for you, but thousands of other people that you've worked with.
Absolutely. So the miracle hour is a 1 hour a day sales system for predictable daily sales. And what you do during this hour is you essentially are nurturing and converting relationships into opportunity. So you have one set hour a day that you do every single day. And before anyone listening says, I don't have an hour a day, you have all hours of the day.
Yes.
Because if your business is not exploding, growing, then that means you have to pick an hour of the day that's not exploding the growth of your business and you need to up level, right? Because it's the first thing everyone says, I don't have an hour a day. I will literally have clients come to me that hire me that are like, I don't have an hour a day. And I'm like, stop. We're going to go ahead and stop right there. Because if your business isn't growing by multiple millions of dollars right now effortlessly, you're working this 1 hour already anyway, but you're not getting the benefit of it.
Yep.
So you're going to give yourself a promotion. You're just going to
I
give
love
yourself
it.
a little promotion. So
Yes.
what do you do in this hour? So this hour has essentially 3 parts to it. Okay. You're going to nurture the relationships that you already have. You're going to move them forward in the process. You're going to begin new relationships and you're going to make offers and convert those existing relationships into opportunities. You divide your hour kind of like this, right? When you think about the funnel of how people buy, There's the top of the funnel, which is a new relationship. There's the middle of the funnel where you nurture. This is where 80% of the magic happens. And this is where no one spends their time.
Yes.
No one spends their time here. This is where the majority of your miracle hour is. And then there's the bottom of the funnel, which is making offers. Now, one of the rules of the miracle hour is that you make offers every single day. So you literally are inviting people to buy every single day. And this really wild and crazy thing happens when you invite people to buy things every day. They do.
They buy stuff every day.
They do. They buy. So I created the live launch method 7 years ago. I scaled that. I taught it to over 100,000 people. It became like common language in the internet marketing world. It took my business from 7 to over 8 figures, taught it to 100,000 plus people. And for every 6 to 8 weeks, we sold high ticket, cold to close in 9 days from a live launch. That was like basically our sales engine. And about a little over a year ago, we actually stopped and we flipped our whole model back to the miracle hour. And we literally go to market every single day. When we started that, we were almost 100% launch dependent. Now we still launch, but we only launch for low ticket products now because that's not how, it's not how people are. They're not buying high ticket that way anymore. So it's stupid. Why are we going to run our head against a wall when that's not how people are buying high ticket? They'll buy low ticket that way all day long. Like, so we still use the method. We just use it differently. But about a year ago, we flipped it. We were almost 100% launch dependent. We went from barely making 1 sale a day when we flipped our model to now we make over 300 sales a month from the miracle hour. Wow. From this outside of launch. And we still do live selling events and we still do, webinars, like all that stuff. Like we do everything. I always say to people, like everything works.
Yeah.
But you need to know how to work it and where to work it, depending on what season are you in? How are people buying? Like, where is the mentality of your market? But what happens in the miracle hour is you basically pick about 5 to 7 activities that you believe are the highest ROI activities that can and should be happening in your business. Now, this looks different for everyone, Dustin. So for example, there might be someone listening that they organically have grown like their business to 6 figures or 7 figures through referrals, but they have no outbound process to multiply and duplicate that.
Yeah,
I would tell
they don't know
that
how to get
person
more
listening,
referrals. They just they're doing good with the ones they have, but when they dry up, there is no systematic way to continue to feed that proven acquisition channel or proven method, but they're not doing anything to proactively feed the channel that they know works. And so that's a great example.
So and it could be literally anything. Let's say you have a brick and mortar. Your first thing during miracle hour should be getting reviews online. That is the number one thing. If you have a brick and mortar, you're a practitioner, you have a clinic, you have something like that, your number one focus in your miracle hour is reviews. Why? Because that's how people find, that is literally what they are searching to decide if they're coming in. So that's why I say the miracle hour, it's industry agnostic, it's business model agnostic, it's platform agnostic. It's what is the lowest lying fruit that is the most strategic focus for your business based on the way that you want to build. Yeah. You don't have to put yourself in any box. Like for us, we have a huge social media following. So a lot of our miracle hour is on social media. We have hundreds of thousands of leads. So my team is literally just connecting with our own market. But for everyone that listens to this podcast, it could look totally different for you. Here's the fascinating thing, Dustin. For most people, they have enough inactive customers that if they started alone, just offering upsells to their current customers and welcome back packages to their inactive customers, and that's all they did in their miracle hour, they could more than double their business in 6 months. Wow. It is insane the amount of opportunity that we overlook because we're chasing more. We're chasing the top of the funnel. And, I live by a couple principles, and this is why the miracle hour works so well, because it's designed around the actual reality of how people buy. On average, it takes 8 to 12 follow-ups for someone to make a sale. They are going to say no 4 times before they say yes. Okay. Yeah. Only 3% of the market is buying at any given time. Okay. Yep. People need to consume 7 to 11 hours of your content and see you 4 to 5 different places before they buy. The miracle hour is an engine. It is a money-making machine for your business that addresses every single metric of how people actually buy that no other system does. It touches the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel every single day. It kills feast or famine in your business forever. It ensures your pipeline is always full. You always have people in the ready to buy category, and you have new leads coming in all the time. And so in 1 hour a day, if you can hit those marks with your 5 to 7 activities that you design, your pipeline is full all the time. People are always ready to buy. There's no magic about it. There's no like special script. You don't need to like be a great salesperson. Like it doesn't matter what platform you're operating on, or even if you're doing this totally off of social media, because as you mentioned, what you're going to be talking about on stage next week, this is about a human forward approach to what actually makes people buy. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you can't leverage AI to then exponentially increase what you're doing. But people are putting the wrong pieces in the wrong order, and they're actually killing their businesses when if they led human forward and then leveraged AI to support them in exemplifying that and amplifying that, then those two things actually can brilliantly grow your business. But that's not what people are doing right now,
Yep.
right?
There's a couple of things I was kind of double tap on there. One, you went through quickly the reality of online sales and marketing, right? And 8 to 12 follow-ups, 4 no's before a yes, only 3% are ready and qualified at any given time to buy. It takes 7 to 11 touch points, and you can build intimacy with different modalities or different settings. Like I love all of those things. And then a couple things I think that make this particularly attractive to me, and I know it will to our listeners, is like I'm a huge fan of using constraints to foster creativity, right? Where it's like I only have an hour and it's
Yep.
exactly an hour and I already
Yep.
predetermined what I've got to do in that hour, right? As humans, we need those constraints because that's actually where we become the most creative. And the other thing I think that I heard here, and I heard it in your own story of like this grew and grew and grew, and then it like hockey sticked, is just the power of momentum, right? We all
Oh,
know
1000%.
if I could consistently do anything, right? Like pray or date nights or workout or whatever, right? The power of consistency is real and it creates momentum, and that's what creates exponential results. And so and the challenge in that a lot of times is right, like what you said before is like, oh, I don't have an hour. BS, you do have an hour, right? We just need to define it and commit to it and do it consistently. And if you have the right system and you believe in it, you'll want to do it, right? Because I'm sure at first it's, and I'd love to, we can kind of close out with this part, maybe like getting started. Maybe it's a little awkward, like going to the gym for the first couple of weeks, but I would assume you get into a rhythm, and because you're making sales and you're getting the feedback and building the relationships, it actually, I would assume, and something I'm definitely going to be doing, I assume it becomes fun and it sort of builds its own habit and momentum because there's such a positive feedback loop built into it. Is that a fair way to
Well,
summarize?
that's exactly it. And I mean, there's so much that we haven't been able to talk about here
Right.
today. So like definitely I want everyone to like go get the book, because I walk you through the categories, how to build your dream 1000, how to structure your hour, what activities you should think about. I give lists and examples of all of these things. And there's a whole toolkit of like what to say, how to say, and
Mhm.
that all comes inside the book. But yeah, I mean, to your point, of course it creates a positive feedback loop. Who doesn't want, listen, I do Miracle Hour with my team at 8 a.m. every day. By about 8:15, we have our first sale in every day.
Wow.
You want to talk about like creating a positive culture in your company. You want to talk about actually enjoying. People say to me all the time, they're like, I see you doing all these things. Like you're launching one book, you're writing another book, you're doing this, you're doing this. They're like, how are you doing all these things? I'm like, I have creative freedom in my business because our sales system is dialed in. Most people are spending all day, every day scrambling and struggling
Mhm.
and stressing. Like, how are we going to make a sale? How are we going to move the business forward? And it's because there's no system on the fundamentals. So people are doing level 8 things that would work if they had the fundamentals, but because they don't have
Yeah.
the fundamentals, level 8 is not going to do anything for you. And these are the basic things like retention, renewals, referrals, reactivations, and upsells, when you get that right, you're making sales with ease every single day in the business. And then the new customers are cherries on top. And so to your point, like, yes, of course it creates a positive cycle. And one other thing that you mentioned that I just want to touch back on is the compounding effect. So
Yes.
I mentioned for us, like we were at basically like one sale a day ish. So that's 30 sales a month. And now we're at 300. That is because, of course, relationships compound. Of
Yes.
course, when you start, you don't have 1,000 people ready to buy. But if you are doing this consistently every day, and every day the snowball is building of the number of people that you are making a positive reciprocity approach to the relationship with, of course, naturally, the pool is growing and growing and growing of people that are in a ready to buy state. There's no magic to it. There's no
Yes.
script. There's no tech tool. There's no anything. We have people do this in a basic Google spreadsheet, and people ask me all the time, like, where should I build it? Where should I do it? And I'm like, listen, we've spent over $9,000 a month on the fanciest tech tools on the market, and it was a complete waste of time, energy, and money. We reverted back to a Google spreadsheet. We're having more success than ever. So
Mhm.
that's what I'll tell everybody that's worried about, like, what do I need to do? And what do I need to buy in order to make this work? Nothing,
Wow.
nothing.
Well, as a closing thought here, so I think for the vast majority of people hearing this, they will buy the book and they will do this themselves as the founder. This is the highest and best use of their time. Wake up in the morning a little worried, or they got these open loops in their mind
Yeah.
about like consistent revenue, consistent sales. Like this is the number one most important thing you can do with
Yeah.
any hour that you have. So do it. For people that are a little beyond that, they're in a scaling stage. I know a lot of the work that you do and the help that you provide is around team and leadership
Yeah.
and training. And so this may be a softball question because I think I know the answer, but I
Yeah.
sincerely want to hear it for myself. How does team play into this? Do you empower other people to do the miracle hour on your behalf? And is that part of where the
Yep.
compounding growth comes in, as you have just have more people doing the
Absolutely.
hour? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even manage a Dream 1000 anymore. I only focus on like rich relationships. So basically, like what we're doing,
Yeah.
connecting with other people, all of that. My team is the one that's driving the sales. And that's one of the things that I love the most is helping people break founder dependency, because the
Yeah.
miracle hour is so simple. You don't need to be this like aggressive shark, like salesperson to do this. In fact, a lot of the people that have the most success are like client support, customer
Mhm.
service, client services, people that have relationships and are very relationship oriented tend to do the best with this. But we, like in our virtual business school, many people that have established businesses, they actually sign up so that they can put their team members
Mm.
in because they're ready to break founder dependency. They want their team to learn how to build their own Dream 1000. And then it just multiplies and duplicates because all of your staff is paying for themselves and they're profitable, which then allows you to keep investing and growing the business.
Oh man, I love it. Well, I'm sure we've whet everyone's appetite. I think we provide a lot of practical value as well, even if they didn't get the book. But like, why wouldn't you get the book? Because I believe deeply in everything you've shared, and I'm super excited to get my hands on this and empower my team with it. So I know the miraclehourbook.com is the website I was accessing today, and you can go there and you can get one copy, or you can get multiple copies for your team, or you can get it for your community, and really help spread the word here of this just amazing foundational, powerful work that Kelly has made available to us by giving us the gift of putting it all in a book. Because I know that you could
Yeah.
use it yourself and do it for your team and sort of like reap the benefits yourself. But part of what drives you and drives me is the mission of empowering
Yeah.
others. And what a gift to be able to put this in a book that makes it super practical and
Yeah.
useful. So yeah, any closing thoughts on just like other than just like go get the book? Duh. Is there any kind of
I
closing thoughts
mean,
there?
yeah, I would say go get the book. And one thing that I did differently with this book, this is my fifth book, is when you get the book, you get instant access to the audiobook. So
Oh,
even
beautiful.
more so,
If you're a
like
podcast
go get the
listener, you know
book,
you love
put
that.
it
So yeah,
in, put
yeah,
it in your ears. And whether you're working out or you're walking the dog or you're sitting in the car at your kids' practice, start listening. And you're going to get so inspired that you're going to start sending text messages and you're going to have your first sale and you're going to have your first miracle hour win before you even pull out of the parking lot. So yeah, I hope everyone will grab their copy of the book and, download the audiobook right away. You get instant access. And I can't wait to hear all the success stories and see you guys take back your time, break founder dependency, have more fun and win bigger in your businesses.
Absolutely love it. TheMiracleHourBook.com. Go grab a bunch of copies, spread the love, spread the word. Kelly, you're a gift to me. I really appreciate the time today. Look forward to all of our rich relationship goodness to come. So yeah, thanks again for being here and sharing this amazing story behind the Miracle Hour.
Thank you for having me.